What's up everybody, John from Old Running Farm here. In today's video, I have finally finished my sawmill setup and I'm gonna make my first cut. I'm very excited. I can't explain to you how long this has taken. It's taken 4 days to finally put this thing together. And this is only a temporary setup, but anyway. Let's quit talking and put a motherfucking log on this thing and cut it! Yeah! Okay. So here we go. Hey. Okay. So I don't even know really what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna try to just cut the top off and see what happens. Alright, so there's my first log. Now that looks pretty good. So these should be around 1 inch thick. And they look pretty straight and pretty even. Man, that red oak is beautiful. So definitely still got a lot to learn. This whole setup process of this thing was an absolute nightmare. It took so long, but man, it seems to be working out just fine. So I am pretty psyched. I'm also pretty sad that I need to get back to work. But anyway, so yeah, so that worked out pretty well. And so I put my first half hour on the machine. You know, again, so I got 3 boards. They're probably somewhere like a 1x8 or 1x6. Something like that. Again, I paid no attention to what I was doing. I just kind of cut and figured it out from there. Sorry for the wind. But yeah, I'm excited. I think these boards look pretty good. All right. So we're here the next day, lunchtime, heading out to do some milling. So I had a great day yesterday. Put about 1.5 hours on the machine, which is pretty cool. I ended up towards the end getting some wavy cuts, which I believe is due to the tension on the saw, on the blade. So I'm gonna try it again today. So I pulled the first half of the tree that I took down last Thursday, which was gonna be my initial mill, and it was a little tough. You know, it had a lot of knots and some branches and stuff. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the last of the log that I have down there, which is an oak, and I'm gonna see, because yesterday it was sort of just experimenting, seeing what I could do. I ended up cutting 2 like 2x8s, which might be a little bit bigger than what I need them for, because I think the way that I'm going to need to build with green lumber is not the traditional stick frame. It's more of a post and beam. So we'll have posts that are being up on blocks, and then we'll have beams going across. So I was thinking that we would have the 2x8 as the beam, but I have a feeling that that's going to be a little too thin to span that entire 16-foot section. Now on the back side, we'll have 3 posts, because it'll be a closed back So that might be okay there. But then I'm thinking that I'll just mill these two down to 2x4s at some point. But we'll have to see. First thing I'm gonna do is go grab that oak and bring it over to the mill. You know, it's funny, one of the reasons why I took this tree was because I thought it was so straight. But I mean, you can see it's not even touching that log bunk. And we come over here, and it's also not touching that one. So it is pretty curved. It's got a nice bow like that. So, you know, that's fine. So I'll basically just turn it so that I can get it to a place where it's resting comfortably on all log bunks. I got my little clamp right there that I'll clamp it to. This is a pretty big log here. So, all right. So now that I got it on here, I'm gonna mill her up. All right, so it's not quite where I want it. So the back end here does kind of swoop up. So I'm gonna lose some of that at the top, but it is what it is. I'm gonna try to see if I can get 2 4x4 posts out of this. Now I think I can, because this has gotta be at least 10 inches wide, if not a foot. So, in diameter rather. So, just gonna give it a go. We're gonna start by taking the top off, getting a nice flat edge, then I'm going to flip it over on the other side, get another flat edge, put it 90 degrees, get a flat edge, and then flip it one more time, one more flat edge, and hopefully have a nice square cant that we can then cut some 4x4s out of. Let's get going. Right, so we now have a nice milled beam. It's pretty big, and it looks better. It seems like the waviness in my cuts has been taken care of, because that's pretty good. So here's my beam. As you can see, there's still a live edge on it, but that should be fine. I don't think that'll affect anything structural. And I guess I should see how big this beam is. Sorry about that. So this beam is actually 8 1/4 square, which is pretty large. So I think that means that I can get 4 4x4s out of this. I'll have to do some measuring, but yeah, so if I cut this in half long ways, that'll give me 2 4 1/8 sections. And then if I flip both of those over and cut them again, I should get another 4. And this is, I think this is 10 or 11, maybe 12 feet tall. We'll see. All right, so now I'm gonna cut this sucker in half, and then I'm gonna flip it over and cut it in half again. And I shouldn't even have to move the blade, I don't think. Well, I'll have to move. Anyway, so I'm gonna make a little mark on the other side, and then see if I can make this. If I can get this into 4 4x4s, I will be very impressed with myself. And hopefully you will be too. All right, so, you know, they're a little different from each other. Obviously this one has a big live edge piece at the end, but the other side is fine. So they're a little different in size. You know, obviously this one is taller, but so these two basically match. So, you know, my measurement just on one end wasn't perfect. And I definitely didn't get it as square as I needed to. I think the fact that it was bowed played a pretty significant part in that. But, you know, I think for the first time milling some lumber, it wasn't that bad. I don't know if this one is actually going to be able to be used with that big chunk taken out of it. You know, it's hard to say. Oh my God, these are so heavy. Yeah, I'm not sure that'll be too structural because this, maybe I can make this into a 2x4. But so these are actual 4x4s-ish. Let's get our handy dandy measuring tape out. Yeah, so this one's over 4.5 by just under 4.5. This one is 4.5 by just under 4. And again, yeah, just over 4.5, probably by just under 4 again. Yeah, so, you know, my cut just wasn't quite right to split these in half. Should have made a mark and lined it up better. I just kind of guessed. So, although I also think that the other side is different. Yeah, so see, this side is actually more square. That's actually like perfect 4x4. These ones, even these ones too. So something was off with one of my initial cuts to get it to be a cant, or like that very long beam. But you know what? I think, you know, this one especially, this is a nice piece of wood. So is this, I think these three are gonna be perfect. This one maybe not so much. And yeah. All right, so all in all, I have 4 4x4-ish by 12 feet, which is pretty good. You know, I think I'm gonna probably flash up on the screen right here what the current price of a 4x4 by 12 is. And I think I'm gonna be cheaper. I think it's probably like 25 bucks. So, you know, if that's $100 worth of lumber that I just did, then great. So, you know, I think it is gonna be quite a project to mill all of the lumber to build this barn over here, but I think I'll be able to do it. You know, I just did this, you know, these 4x4s in about an hour. Yeah, just about an hour. So I think hopefully I'll be able to make it happen. You know, obviously it's gonna take a little while longer, but I haven't had like a full day to just dedicate to this. So maybe what I'll do next is I'll start hoarding some lumber. Because what I need to do is I need to just have like the logs here instead of going and getting them, chainsawing them and bringing them over to the mill. Maybe my first step should be just bringing, you know, a bunch of logs over to the mill. And then I wonder if I can get, you know, straighter logs, because this one had a pretty good swoop in it. So if you guys have any suggestions of how to deal with that, if any of you are sawyers out there and you know what you're doing and you see something that I could do better, please let me know. You know, I'm always up for suggestions. And the cool thing about this, now we're gonna have all the top cuts we could possibly want. So, you know, we're also thinking about maybe doing some firewood. Busy, busy, busy. All right, so maybe I'll see if I can just stack these up somewhere, or, you know, this is all kind of last minute. I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do with all this stuff. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and as always, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.